Greetings all, this is Hairy Nick.
This is Justin.
Welcome back to the Hangar Bay, our weekly show where we talk about X-Wing lists, the ones that you guys submit in the comment section on the Discord, wherever. First of all, quick apology, we missed last week. I was moving house and then there was a metric ton of spoilers, so whatever, had to miss a week unfortunately, but we're right back into it again.
We sure are.
Back on the Scum faction, talking about my beloved Firespray.
You do love this ship, don't you?
I do. I loved it in first edition. I really loved that they gave it a nice push in second edition. I'm kind of a bit sad because, yeah, they fixed it, guys. It doesn't have Marauder, Han, Boba at a stupid low cost. You can still do all that, but it's not nearly as efficient as it was anymore.
It's a bit fairer for everyone else.
Oh, it's completely fair. Like, I don't think any reasonable Scum player can say that was fair, what it was doing. Apart from that, on the platform itself, only Boba Fett and Marauder went up in points, but Slave 1 and Drasta came down in points. And I think that opens up a lot of list building potential. Now, the bulk of the list that we're going to look at in this video were actually submitted before that points change because there hasn't been a whole heap of interest in this ship post points change. I think that is a mistake. I think people should really be looking at this ship. I think specifically Slave 1 going all the way down to 2 points is something to be interested in. People kind of disregard it because, oh, why would I want to change my dial when I just dial incorrectly? I think even on Boba Fett in the increased points, it's absolutely worth looking at.
Is there any Firespray lists that you're looking at right now?
No, I'm looking mainly at the robots at this stage, but I do want to keep experimenting with Boba Fett. I still think, honestly, I just think he's fairer now. Being 86 points? Yeah, I think that's fine on Boba Fett. I'm interested in playing around with him with Slave 1. I think the issue is he just doesn't have the token generating ultra efficient nonsense he had. That's fine. I don't think he needs it to be good. He's on a medium base. He gets that white boost. I think that white boost is so good for the Firespray moving into second edition. Apart from that, it's just this all-round Scum platform. Cannon, missile, crew, device, illicit, modification, titles, all those kind of really cool, just really versatile Scum ship kind of stuff. Decent dial, boost, target lock focus, reinforced now.
And the stat line for the Firespray is 3 primary attack out the front, 3 primary out the back, 2 agility, 6 hull, and 4 shield.
Yeah, which is just solid.
Yeah.
There's nothing really to write home about here, but it's having that rear shot and that white boost. That's what it's all about here. You can brawl into the late game, overshoot your opponent, and do a lot of really fun stuff. Some of the name piles, again, they were largely overlooked, and I think that was mainly because Boba Fett was just a bit too efficient in the first part of second edition. I'm curious about these other pilots. I'm not sure what would break through if anything does. I think I can point at a couple and say, no, these aren't really for tournament spikes, but some of them I look at go, yeah, it's interesting.
Maybe one day.
Anyway, let's have a look at these lists and just talk about what we can do with this platform. Look, before we talk about anything else, Nuada on the Discord just posted this last minute. 3 bounty hunters, one of them was Slave 1, which you can just squeeze in for 200 points.
Calls the list triple oops.
Triple oops, yes. It's not 3 Upsilon class shuttles. And I think realistically that's what we have to compare it to these days.
Yeah.
A lot of people are saying the triple Upsilon is a mistake on FFG's part, that they missed it in the points change. Whatever, that's a whole different conversation to have. And that's a conversation I will be having on this channel if it continues to do well. But let's compare it directly to that. This is not triple Upsilon. Yeah. It doesn't have the same stats to compete with that. It's really interesting because I think it actually might fare quite well against triple Upsilon because it can overshoot them and shoot them. But it can outmaneuver them really effectively and just troll them.
Yeah.
It might get eviscerated in the meantime. A really good triple Upsilon player will not let you do that. They'll make sure that they have all their bases covered and fly them quite well.
And the problem, with 4 primary attack and you've only got 2 agility, you're going to be taking some hits.
Yeah. 10 health. I just don't think your Firesprays are going to survive. No. Against most other things, it's interesting, but I think we can power out just better generic lists in general. Having a slave 1 on one of the initiative 2s, you can do it, but whatever. They're only initiative 2, so the chance of actually getting the chance to change the dial isn't going to be relevant enough most of the time.
No.
So interesting idea, Nuada. But yeah, I think ultimately this isn't really what the platform wants to be doing. I think we're looking more at the named pilots. So let's move on to this list by kidney. This is Boba Fett with Dengar and L337 on the escape craft.
So Boba has Trick Shot, Kira, and the Slave 1 title.
Dengar has Proton Torpedoes and the Punishing 1 title.
And L3 has Tactical Officer.
And I really wanted to talk about a list with Dengar as well. Boba and Dengar was a thing briefly in first edition. Very good fun. And again, that had things like engine upgrades and whatever on Boba Fett because that's what you did back then. Now he just gets it. So this new improved Dengar. 78 points for Proton Torpedoes and Punishing 1.
Doesn't seem too bad.
Seems all right. Like, I'm trying to think what Dengar did in first edition, Recon Spec and Lone Wolf and all the kind of really hyper-efficient stuff. You can't put Perceptive Copilot on now, which is what Recon Spec used to be, because Punishing 1 title gets rid of your crew slot. I think
that's fair.
I think that's okay. Also, you've got 2 points left. I just put Trick Shot on Dengar. I know, we go on about it.
Love our Trick Shot.
I don't think a 2-point bid really matters all that much. It is relevant in a list with Initiative 5, Initiative 6. It's not relevant enough to take on like the Imperial bids and whatever.
No.
I think at that point's range, I'd rather just have Trick Shot on Dengar. He has a turreted shot, so he's sort of kind of likely to occasionally get that opportunity. Dengar's a bit of a weird one. Basically, I feel like with Punishing 1 on Dengar, you pretty much just lock him in the front and use it like a ship that just has a forward arc.
Yeah.
I think that's probably what you want to do. Proton Torpedoes works with Dengar's ability. You can fire them. And I think that's just okay. I think at 78 points, that's actually just good enough. What's that? That's like 39 points in first edition. Yeah, that actually feels okay. Dengar was sort of pushing 50 points plus, or equivalent second edition would be over 100 points.
I don't think you could do 100 points these days with him.
Oh, you can. You definitely can.
Like you could, but I feel like that's...
I don't think it's right.
Yeah.
Look, the ultimate problem with the Jump Master, and I've got to address this every time we talk about it because people are freaked out that it's going to come back and ruin the meta again. Only one arc and a red rotate arc. It's very safe right now.
Yeah,
it's very safe. So it's almost like we have to think of it completely differently. And from that point of view, I like this. I like the amount of attacks it can do. I mean, look, 2 attacks, Proton Torpedoes in second edition is very good. It's you're not going to get the hyper efficiency we did in first edition, but that's okay. And that's cool. L337 with TAC Officer is just awesome. No complaints there. What I want to talk about here is this Boba Fett build.
It's interesting, isn't it? Only an extra 6 points put on there, but they're all good.
It's a really good use of 6 points. At first, I thought Kira. I'm not a huge fan of Kira unless you have ways to really capitalise off of it. But Slave 1, coming down to 2 points and going alongside Trick Shot and Kira, I kind of like that.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you've got to lock the rock that you're flying over, but that doesn't feel terrible. I mean, what do you think?
Well, it means if you target a rock and you choose to either go left or right, you can then go, well, I can either fly over this rock, or I can just keep going the right way, or
keep going the way you were going. Basically, it means you're unlocking the power of Slave 1 because you can fly over rocks and then your opponent doesn't know where you're going. You're going to activate Trick Shot more. You're giving yourself more flexibility to get into range 1 for Boba Fett's effect.
Yeah.
It's all very, very relevant. Slave 1 and Kira together. I don't particularly love either card, but they're helping each other out, and that seems interesting to me.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say there. It's cool. It's cool. I don't know what to make of it.
Yeah, because it's 6 points, you're just like, well, like, that's really good for 6 points, but...
Yeah, I'd usually say, like, oh, the janky synergy, blah, blah, blah. But for 6 points, yeah, give it a go. See what it's like. And we got to be creative with Boba Fett to try and find new ways to use him. And at the end of the day, it's a 92-point build on Boba Fett, and I think Boba Fett is just fine as is. And just with Trick Shot, you're getting value out of that already, just with Slave 1. If nothing else, if you're not doing the crazy rock stuff, Trick Shot and Slave 1 are still fine on him by it is.
Yeah.
And that's what I say. Whenever we have some kind of synergy that you're trying to get to work together, think of the fail case. And if the fail case is good, then I think it's worth looking at. So yeah, really solid idea, Kidney. Look, maybe it's not Dengar and L3. Maybe it's something else alongside him. But I do like this Boba Fett build, and I think it's worth looking at. Let us move along to Mikemikemotorbike with Boba and Asajj. Another Boba Fett build we have here.
Now, this was one of our YouTube submissions.
Yes, indeed. And this is the lastest that we're going to look at that was submitted after the points change. Everything else is going to be pre-points change, and we'll discuss ways to balance out the points now.
Yeah. So, Boba Fett has Debris Gambit, 000, Marauder, and BT1.
Asajj has Hate and Maul. Before we talk about anything else, we don't have a proper rules clarification on whether Asajj can take Hate. We do, however, have within the official squad builder the ability to take Hate on Asajj without taking Maul.
Yeah. Now, it kind of makes sense. Asajj was a dark side user.
Yes, I think it does make sense. I mean, if FFG want to go to a place where basically they say they can do it on a pilot-per-pilot basis on the Scum faction, that's absolutely fine with me. I just don't understand why they didn't print that on her card.
Yeah, I think it needs a little caveat or something next to it.
I think in the first official... the second official errata, because we already have one with the original rules document, it's just either they're going to say, no, it doesn't work on Asajj, whatever. But the fact of the matter, it is in the squad builder. I think in italics, dark side at the top of her rules text.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's going to be. Because, yes, you don't have to actually have Maul to take Hate. And actually, speaking about that, I wouldn't. Mike, if you're watching this video, I think you probably built this thinking that you had to take Maul. And look, let's say, for example, you do. I don't love this regardless. I don't think trying to spend that much points to get Hate is really worth it.
No.
I'd be more interested in taking things like Heightened Perception. Sense is cool as well. Actually, I'd look at Sense seriously for sure. But, let's just look at the fact that it could just take Hate without Maul.
Yeah.
Maul just gives you the ability to do what Hate does, but in a kind of bad way.
Yeah,
because you have to take a stress to take that extra token, and you may not have the extra token to take. So, from that point of view, I just wouldn't bother.
No. And then all of a sudden you've got 19 points.
Absolutely. Also, let's jump over to Boba Fett. Debris Gambit and 000 both have gone up in points. Actually, so has Marauder.
Yeah.
And BT1. You've got a pretty heavy synergy with 000 and BT1. And as I was saying before, if your synergies don't pay off, then the points investment in them isn't really all that great.
And that's 7 points for BT1 and 000.
And Marauder is what you need to have BT1 in the first place. So it's actually 13 points for that combo.
That's a lot of points.
It's a lot of points, and I'm not really convinced that the synergy is really worth it.
Yeah.
I think, look, Upside's fantastic. You can do a whole heap of dice and just sink all these things into your opponent's ship, stress them out, maybe get calculate tokens, convert some more results. The upside's there. I completely understand the upside's there. I'm just not convinced of the consistency. I think that's the main issue we have here.
Yeah.
If we were to take, for example, the last build with Trickshot, Kira, and Slave 1, you'd be saving 10 points. And if you save those 10 points and you save Maul as well, then you can just take an escape craft alongside.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you got to compare it to. Do you want this kind of synergy, or do you want the extra ship?
And I think in the end, an extra ship these days is a lot more powerful.
I think in the world of second edition, the ship is more important than the synergy with upgrades. However, having said all of that, put all that aside, I really like Boba alongside Asajj. It's something I flew quite a lot of it in first edition.
You sure did.
It was one of my favourite lists. And then it was Asajj, Nim and all that kind of stuff. But Boba Asajj always has a special place in my heart.
Yeah.
And I do like these guys alongside each other. Asajj is just a nice basic controller. I really want to see Asajj do well. The fact that she's come down in points is very interesting to me. And I don't think Boba is unplayable. Is the key thing, the key message I want to get here. I don't really want to look at Boba around the 100-point mark anymore. I think it's too much. I don't think it's where he wants to be sitting. I still think like Debris Gambit is interesting on Boba Fett, especially with things like 000 to sort of power things out. But the key thing that made Debris Gambit powerful was the fact that you could use the Hangar to then power out extra tokens and do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I think there's experimentation to be done. Mike, I love the idea of the list. I just don't know about that synergy on Boba Fett. I think that's where it sort of doesn't work in my mind. But a really cool idea nonetheless. Let us move along, because we want to talk about all these other pilots as well. Kaf Scarlet is in this list by Omar Berrios, alongside Genesis Red and 2 Tansari Point veterans on the Skik Fighter.
Kaf Scarlet has Outmaneuver, Zuckuss, and Marauder.
All of the Skiks have Intimidation and Jamming Beam. And actually, this was submitted before the points change, and you didn't have Jamming Beam on the Tensari Point veterans, but now it's free, so you just take it regardless. Yeah, pretty much. So this is interesting. Like, ways to try and break Kaf Scarlet interest me, because the payoff with her is really good. Extra red dice, always very powerful, especially in second edition. We just don't get extra red dice with anything. So if we can use Skik Fighters with Intimidation, you can not only add your red dice, but also delete your opponent's dice.
Yeah, feels good.
That's kind of fun. It is worth pointing out that Marauder's gone up in points, and that sort of makes it a little bit less desirable. Having said that, though, your entire list has come down in points because of the deduction on those Skik Fighters and on Jamming Beam. So there is a lot to play around with here. Now, first of all, I just want to comment on Genesis Red. You've taken that over another generic, and that means that he doesn't work with Kaf Scarlet's ability. Or she. Actually, Genesis Red is a generic character that is actually not a set species or gender. In case you were wondering, it's in like the Old Republic Online or something like that.
Yeah,
and it constantly changes for every player. Genesis Red is the mission objectives. Just a little bit of side information for you guys.
That's kind of
cool. And so the payoff is taking Genesis Red's ability. I think it's meta dependent, but I don't love it. I've spoken about this before. Initiative 4 is not enough to guarantee that you're taking tokens off your opponent's ship.
Yeah.
You lock them, you get, all the green tokens? No, just focus and evade, so not even reinforce. Which hurts.
Yeah, I suppose. But you can't really take reinforce.
But it's so ubiquitous. I know. But the problem is, because reinforce is so ubiquitous, and look, big ships are getting points reductions now.
Yeah.
It means they go, well, I'm not going to focus. I'm just going to reinforce. You got nothing. So there's even less agency in Genesis Red. I'm just really down on this pilot right now. I really wish FFG just gave it Initiative 5. Just gave it a chance. It's really rough. So I know I'm being a bit harsh here, but I don't think it's worth the point investment, and just go for 3 Tansari Point veterans.
Okay, so you've then got 7 points. Was there anything else you'd do?
The bid is now 7 points. I actually would not take Marauder.
Yeah.
I'd take Slave 1 instead, because frankly it's a 5-point deduction, and it gives Kaf Scarlet more agency to get better shots, and that's just interesting. I mean, like Slave 1 at the original points it was, I wouldn't have even considered it, but considering it's 4 points cheaper than Marauder, go for that. Zuckuss is interesting. So you're eliminating your opponent's green dice and then forcing him to re-roll them. That's kind of cute. I like that. Yeah. Look, if you're going to go for a meme list, just take Zuckers. Just do that kind of stuff. Also worth considering is 4 LOM.
Yeah.
Also 2 points. You can prevent them from spending tokens. I actually like that a lot.
Ooh.
Because you get rid of their dice and then you get rid of their tokens.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun. I think either of those, if you're going to go for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's worth pointing out Outmaneuver is not as good on the Firespray anymore because it only works at the forward firing arc. So you can think of things like Trick Shot. Trick Shot's fun because you're adding even more dice.
Yeah. You could also go Lone Wolf, maybe?
The problem is you need to attack things that are touching your skeeks. You can still do that with Lone Wolf. You can still get into range 3, but it's
a bit harder.
You're limiting
it?
yourself.
Yeah.
Considering how difficult this already is, I wouldn't go there.
Okay.
I look, go for the meme build. Go for Trick Shot.
Yep.
And then what? Is there any hard limit on Kaf's ability? Roll 1 additional if there is at least. No. So you only get 1 additional dice. You can get 2 additional dice. I mean, let's say, Magical Christmas Land, you roll 6 dice. That's kind of fun.
It feels...
Range 1 through a rock with a skick touching it. It's never going to happen. But yeah, look, if you want to go for the kind of, over the top thing.
And I suppose with the jamming beams, it kind of could eventually happen.
Oh, yeah. You can do all kinds of crazy stuff. Jamming beam gets rid of tokens. Yeah. Omar, just go full meme list and have fun with it. Let us know in the comments if you've actually given this a go. I'm really curious to see if we can actually make Kaf Scarlet somewhat functional. Anyway, on to this list by Zachary Hubbard. It's an IG list.
Yeah, we have IG-88B and Krasik's Trellix.
Indeed. IG-88B has Lone Wolf, Advanced Sensors, Ion Cannon, Heavy Laser Cannon, Proximity Mines, Inertial Dampeners, and IG-2000.
And Krasis Trellix has Predator, Ion Cannon, IG-88D, Contraband Cybernetics, Stealth Device, Marauder, and Veteran Tail Gunner.
Okay. And again, this was submitted before the points change. It is actually still legal, despite the fact that we have Marauder here. But I do have to admit, Marauder is less desirable here because of that. Again, I'm thinking more Slave 1, to be honest. Also, it is worth pointing out there is a hard cap, only 1 bonus attack per turn. So the bonus attack Krasis would get from IG-88B, thanks to having the IG-88D crew, cannot be taken in conjunction with Veteran Tail Gunner. Veteran Tail Gunner is also very restrictive because it only allows you to take a rear shot after taking a forward shot. Yeah. So it's not really what Krasis wants. Krasis really likes IG-88B because you can shoot at the forward or the rear and then shoot again at the forward or the rear with that cannon.
Okay.
I really like the idea of these 2 pilots together. I think it's a very interesting and cool, fun thing to play around with. But if we eliminate Marauder, Stealth Device, Veteran Tail Gunner, I don't think even Stealth Device is really what he's looking at.
No.
It's interesting, but
I feel like
it's just going to get shot through.
Yeah, having Stealth Device on Krasis Trellix doesn't really make sense because they're going to be going for 88B anyway.
Yes, it's a very good point. Bear in mind, Krasis Trellix is not the primary target because eliminating IG-88B eliminates IG-88B's ability on Krasis Trellix. You shoot Krasis Trellix first, nothing happens. I mean, you're eliminating the Firespray that can shoot backwards. I get that. That's got some value.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately you look at this, you go, well, IG-88B is just way more important. They're, roughly the same points. I honestly, if I was fighting against this, I'd try and get that IG off the board as fast as possible.
Same here.
So from that point of view, I think I'd remove Marauder and Veteran Tail Gunner and Stealth Device and all that kind of stuff. Then you have a 17-point bid.
Yeah. Seems a little bit too big.
Yeah, it seems pretty big. Like, things feel a bit wasteful. But then we can look at things. We could take Andrasta. And this is where things get a tad interesting. Because when you have Andrasta, suddenly you can take missiles. You could take, for example, concussion missiles.
Yeah.
And then you can shoot that backwards. That's pretty cool. And then if you happen to miss that, you can shoot the cannon forwards or backwards. Now, bear in mind, you can't shoot the missile as the second shot.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. Anything that misses triggers IG-88B's ability.
Okay.
Meaning you can shoot that ion cannon forward or backward. Then you've also got room for bombs. You can go proxy mines. You can go seismic charges, proton bombs, all kinds of... I'd go seismic.
I think seismic it's good there. 4-point bid.
Yeah, I don't really want a 4-point bid. I don't really care about a 4-point bid, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot, actually. And I think ultimately, yes, look, I will point out that this was submitted before the points change. And before the points change, yeah, Marauder, just chuck on Marauder. Yeah. In fact, I wouldn't even go Veteran Talgon. I'd go Han. Marauder Han with the old points.
Yeah.
With the new points, I think the priorities are shifting around. And I think something like Andrasta, you could even think Slave 1. Yeah. But I think there's more upside with Andrasta because you get reload and bombs and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So that's a cool idea. Zachary, I really like the idea of these two guys together. I really want to workshop this more, especially with the points changing the fire spray. It actually makes Cressus Trellix more desirable, which is really, really cool. Let's move on. Magnus Eriksson wanted to talk about this list using the Star Viper. So let's do it.
So we've got Guri here with Fearless and Advanced Sensors.
Koshka Frost with 000 and Rid Cargo Chute.
And Forlom, just
now,
by himself.
Currently illegal because we have increased the points on Advanced Sensors and 000. It's now gone over by 5 points. And from that point of view, I'd actually just edit this build on Guri.
Yeah.
We could go for Collision Detector and Trick Shot instead, and then you have a build that is usable. I like Collision Detector on Guri a lot. You could also think about changing Forlom to Zuckus and then finding points elsewhere, because that saves 4 points and then there's points elsewhere to do. I honestly think Forlom with nothing on is actually more desirable.
Yeah, his abilities are a bit better.
Full stop, pass off the stress. Full stop, pass off the stress is so trolley.
Yeah.
Good fun, especially when you have Koshka Frost, and that's what you're going to go for here. Koshka Frost, the new pilot added into 2nd edition. You can re-roll a dice if your opponent's stressed. More incidental stress in 2nd edition. I do like this. I just honestly think, especially in the first block of points, it really wasn't worth it for 71 points. More desirable now that Boba Fett's more expensive.
Yeah.
What are we looking at in terms of the points curve? Very cheap.
Ooh. 15 points.
Only a point more than Cressus Trellix, and Cressus Trellix needs a big points investment to make him work anyway.
Yeah.
Still cheaper than Calf Scarlet. I don't know what's going on there. I think Koshka Frost is probably just more consistent than Calf Scarlet.
Yeah, but what initiative is Calf Scarlet?
Calf Scarlet's initiative 4. But yeah, 15 points cheaper than Boba. Yeah. And look, let's just not ignore the fact that the Fire Spray is just a good platform if you ignore the pilot ability and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah. Also, got a talent, and we've not used that. Like Rid Cargo Chute's good fun. 000. I mean, 000 Rid Cargo Chute. Yeah, you're trying to get that stress out there. I get that, but you can still take Trick Shot. I mean, I know we go on about it. Okay, maybe that's wrong here. Maybe you want to go for the synergy, and I completely respect that. The fact of the matter is Guri doesn't have any of that synergy with the rest of this stuff. So you can think about changing the Guri platform entirely. But Guri is flexible enough to change the points around there, and that's cool. I mean, this is the way to use Koshka Frost if indeed you want to. Don't really have a lot of options. I mean, we can take Paylob and then lock down the tokens, which makes the stress more painful. I mean, that's you're kind of getting into a Boba Forlom Paylob situation there, and it's not as good.
No.
This list is not as good as that old thing.
Yeah.
Look, let's focus on Koshka Frost and Forlom. Yeah. It's a very cool idea. I love the fact that they're initiative matched. That's really cool. You want as much flexibility on Forlom as possible. Apologies for the abrupt cut there, but my camera died and then we ate dinner. And then the sun sets, so the lighting's all changed in here. So that's a thing that happened.
Yeah. It was a delicious dinner.
It was delicious. It was indeed. So yes, I'm just closing the thoughts on Koshka Frost. I think the problem with it is, while it's great, there's lots of incidental stress in 2.0. I think about all the lists I run that generate stress. Probably Poe Dameron is something I like to fly that generates the most stress consistently. Yeah. If I'm flying something like Poe Dameron, I'm too aware of Koshka Frost and I'll fly around it. And that's a problem. It is something you can you have to manufacture it, and your opponent can just prevent it from happening.
I think you actually need a second ship that does something with stress.
Yeah, apart from Forlom, you mean. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's an interesting idea. It almost like it needs something else to come out to help it out. A bit more support for this archetype. But yeah, it's a cool idea.
Yeah, definitely.
Indeed, I always like ideas that are almost on the cusp of being a thing. We do occasionally say that every time there's a new wave come out. So, is this archetype a thing, or is that archetype a thing?
It's not going to be anything in wave 4 though.
No, it's got quite a while before scum stress control becomes a thing. But we'll see. We'll
get there.
One last list by Lucas Wikie. This time we have Eamon Azamine. I wanted to make sure I featured all the pilots on the Firespray. So Lando on the Escape Craft, Han Solo on the Falcon, and Eamon Azamine on the Firespray.
Yeah, now Lando has nothing on him.
Han has Trick Shot, L337 000, BT-1, Rid Cargo Chute, and Lando's Millennium Falcon.
And Eamon has Elusive, Cad Bane, Proximity Mines, Andrasta, and Proton Bombs.
Yeah, okay. So there's no extra bombers to go alongside Eamon Azamine. I always like the idea of putting him alongside something like Captain Nim, but
I was going to say
Captain Nim's not doing that great in the meta right now, so whatever. I really like Han Solo.
Yeah, I was going to say, but is Han Solo that much better?
Han Solo and Lando over Captain... I mean, Captain Nim is nowhere near the 100-point mark because the points have radically changed. We don't do Captain Nim plus one more bomber anymore, so you could almost switch out Nim for Han and then have Lando alongside them. Okay. These are all ideas. 2 dedicated bombers. It's never really proven to be the most effective thing. It almost feels like just one bomber and one just good brawler alongside it seems to be the way we want to do things.
Okay.
Plus, Eamon Azamine himself also brawls quite well. I mean, that's what the Firespray is. It's a very, very powerful brawler. And I've always felt like whenever I fly him, I want him to be better at brawling. I want to give him cannons or talents that help him with his combat effectiveness because he can do both.
Yeah.
And that's the cool thing about him. What is he, Initiative 4? Yeah, Initiative 4. Now has a talent in 2nd edition he didn't in 1st, which sucked.
I mean, speaking of cannons, you can put a cannon on him.
You can. I don't love the options in 2nd edition.
I was going to say jamming beam.
Yeah, of course you can. Oh, yeah, of course. Sorry. Again, this list was submitted before the points changed, so yes, you can just chuck on jamming beam. So you may as well. I don't think that makes him any better. I think it's just an interesting option to have occasionally. And Han Solo, Trick Shot, 000, BT-1. That whole package is quite expensive. Should also point out, yes, this list has actually gone 4 points over the 200-point threshold. To fix that, I would just eliminate either Cad Bane on Eamon or Rid Cargo Chute on Han. I think Rid Cargo Chute's the right way to go.
Okay.
I really like Cad Bane on the Firespray. It's a lot of fun. You get a red boost after you drop a bomb.
So what I was thinking personally was change Lando Calrissian to L3.
Yep.
Take L3 off the...
Yes, so that's a saving of 3 points for the pilot and 4 points to get rid of that crew.
Yeah, and then you could also put someone else on as a crew member.
Yeah, sure, let's do that. So let's get rid of L3, put L3 over here. We have 3 points left over.
Yeah.
I mean, what kind of things we could think about on Han?
We could think about maybe Woody Harrelson.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea with bombs. Yeah, that could be a lot of fun. Zuckus, Forlom. Nothing really jumps out at me too much.
Yeah.
I mean, with 3 points left over...
There's not much point putting a bid in with this list, is there?
Not really. I do like L3 on the Escape Craft. I don't think it's not a huge discount in power level over Lando, but it is 3 points less. And I don't think L3 is necessary on Han. Remember, this list was originally submitted before the points change, so L3 would fit with Lando on the Escape Craft and L3 on Han Solo. Yeah. And if you just make these adjustments, put L3 on the Escape Craft and take L3 off Han Solo, you have a 3 point bid. And honestly, that feels all right. I feel like a 3 point bid, you've got an Initiative 6 on the board. Initiative 4 and 2, you don't really care about that. But, 3 point bid just in case someone else brings Initiative 6 and doesn't have a bid.
I suppose it's not nothing, is it?
I mean, there's nothing else that really jumps out at me, so
No.
that's all I'm thinking, really.
Yeah.
And look, ultimately, what this comes down to is having an effective bomber and an effective brawler, and L3 for some coordinates. I still think L3 at 26 points is fantastic.
Yeah.
You still get a coordinate on the board. It's red. I don't care. Doesn't matter. Very effective. Very effective.
Well, if you really wanted to, you could chuck Tactical Officer on and have a 1-point bid.
Yeah, actually, that's a really good idea. See, I knew if we waffled on for long enough, we'd find something to do with those points. Yeah, so that's something to consider. Like, the list isn't broken because it went over in points because of the points change. I think it's still fine. But do bear in mind, you are paying more for 000, so maybe that combination with 000 BT1 is less desirable, but still decent. We were talking before about wanting more things with stress payoffs. Maybe this wants to go alongside Koshka Frost and what was it, Forlom and all that kind of stuff. I don't know how effective that's going to be, but there are things to play around with for sure. I really like Han on the Falcon. It's occasionally makes it into a top 16, and I really want to see it do well because it's Han Solo.
He is a big name.
Yeah, I mean, if finally the Scum faction gets a big name that actually has lines in movies, and it's not doing that well, so it'd be cool.
That's a fair point. I've just realised that.
Yeah, for sure.
I suppose Unkar Platt had a couple of lines.
Yeah, I suppose so. But like we had an entire movie of characters based around the Scum faction, and it's not doing too well. I'll not see it do a bit better. But bottom line, yeah, Eamon Asmin is a lot of fun. And I think now that Boba Fett's doing a lot of less degenerate stuff, I do want to look at him a bit more, maybe alongside a Skirk Bomber, maybe alongside Han, maybe alongside a lot of things. Yeah. There's a lot of things to play around with the Firespray, that's for sure.
And that's the great thing about this ship. You've got choices.
A lot of choices, yeah.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's a great brawler, but you can put on missiles and cannons and bombs. Just make it like an ace lightish build with Boba Fett. Lots of things you can do with it. And I think it has not seen its final days in the meta. I don't think the points increase on Boba Fett and Marauder are going to keep it out.
No.
It's just going to look very different. And yeah, I think it's very interesting moving forward. Yeah. Anyway, guys, if you'd like us to have a look at one of your lists, please pop it down in the comment section of one of these YouTube videos with a link to that list within your favourite list builder. If you're part of the Patreon Discord, please submit it there on the relevant channel. In the meantime, do not forget to like and subscribe. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Reddit. Please consider supporting the Patreon. The Patreon is awesome. It's the reason we're here making videos every single week.
Yeah. We were able to bring out that first list right at the last second just simply because he was on Patreon.
Yeah, we can communicate directly. Having that direct communication with the patrons really help. Anyway, we'll catch you in the next video.
Bye.